Independent, locally owned New Orleans bookstore, Octavia Books, offers author events, book signings, and hand-picked titles for all ages. OctaviaBooks.com.
Criollo Restaurant offers a culinary adventure prepared by a tiny animated French chef. A 5-course dinner experience comes to life at each place setting using projection mapping. Located in the historic Hotel Monteleone. Learn more at criollonola.com.
This program is supported in part by a community arts grant made possible by the City of New Orleans as administered by Arts New Orleans.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area. Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
From jazz to jambalaya, theater to galleries.
Steppin Out brings you the best of our local arts and culture scene each week.
Let's step up and step out. Together, keeping WYES strong.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. With us tonight, Maurice Carlos Ruffin, novelist, short story writer, and associate professor of English at LSU. Welcome to our table, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's great to see you. Poppy's back. Poppy Tooker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hi.
Hello, Peg.
Hello. Okay. And we're delighted. Making his debut is Kyriakides.
Kyriakides. Yes.
Kyriakides. I was close. Pardon me, sir. Owner, thank you. Owner of Ambeli Wine Imports and Distribution, and they focus on wines from Cyprus and Greece. And we've got some sip and tell tonight, so we have lots to show you. Welcome to our table.
Thank you for having me.
And Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com. Poppy. And now for something completely different.
And now for some a little alternative programming here. So Beth and Scott Galante, who of course are our dear friends, that flying Elvi Scott, they have restored a historic St. Charles Avenue property, and Scott's law firm is upstairs, and downstairs there is an entirely new concept coffee house that's called High Grinds, and they say that what they have is coffee, tea, and THC. So there's pastries curated by Gracious Bakery, and then there are locally crafted and curated products that contain THC, wellness products, beauty products. They have a huge assortment, a variety of THC canned beverages. And their partner, Derek Domain, has worked in the THC and CBD industry since 2019. So he knows the best. You know, it's fascinating that we are the 4th largest hemp beverage market in the country, and 4 of the top 25 national brands are headquartered here. Now, you may not know, but there is a special day coming up. It's 4/20. Now, for many years, apparently, that day has been celebrated because of cannabis. But of course, now we're not talking about that. We're talking about hemp-derived CBD, THC, and they are going to have such a party at High Grinds on Monday from 2 until 7. There'll be red beans and music and discounted THC products. The live music starts, of course, at 4:20 on 4/20 with Johnny Campos of the Lost Bayou Ramblers, and they're even going to be offering THC beverage flights for tastings and games and giveaways and raffles. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I've been working on some Louisiana Eats programming about this, and I came across a very interesting woman named Monica Olanos, who has started a business in Metairie that's called Cali Sober Market. And so what that means is that people who are alcohol-free but have alternative choices. So they sell de-alcoholized wines. They also have mushroom wellness products like lion's manes and cordyceps and reishi and turkey tail, all in tinctures. They even have an alcohol-free espresso martini that's made with mushrooms. They're very educated on wellness and lifestyle alternatives because apparently these mushrooms can do all sorts of good things for us. And they're open Tuesday through Saturday on Veterans Boulevard. But Monica has opened up a second business. Her husband's family owns Bambula on Frenchman Street. So she opened up Melange Zero Proof Bar. And this is a carefully curated, alcohol-free bar that serves cocktails, and they serve you there's a little bottle with tincture in it that you regulate how much THC you want to drop into your cocktails. And it's a fabulous thing down on Frenchman Street for people who don't care to drink alcohol and want an alternative. And look at the balcony, the view. It's a very cool spot. Anyway, another big 420 celebration that's happening on Monday is our friends at Louie, which are a local THC beverage company. They're turning 3. So they're going to be celebrating their 3rd birthday with their new, only at the Napoleon House, Pimm's Like Napoleon Cup. So that's Monday from 4 to 6. Okay. And also, they'll be serving traditional Pimm's, but they have strawberry Pimm's now. They have frozen Pimm's cups, and they even have, what a perfect thing for springtime, a beautiful strawberry salad. Okay. All at the Napoleon House.
Very good. Thank you.
Don't bogart that can.
I'm telling you. Ari, once again, it's great to have so many beautiful things to look at and to sip. And award winners, too. Tell us about them.
Yes, well, thanks for having me, first of all.
Sure.
So, yeah, the awards are from the local New Orleans Wine and Food Experience. It happens every year. Actually, it's coming up in June. And they, as part of that, they do an international wine competition. So I started 4 or 5 years ago. Every year I enter one wine, and they all, so far, have been winning a medal. So,
congratulations. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. Tell us about that.
That's the, actually, that's an indigenous, all of these are indigenous varietals from the island of Cyprus. That's called Moro Canela. We're going to have a pronunciation test after, and a spelling test after this. Moro Canela is basically 100% indigenous varietal of that wine. It used to be an extinct varietal, and it was kind of revived by a few, and the winemaker, a friend of mine, we went to high school together and all that. He's, so that won in 2023, I believe. So it's a single wine. It's for heavier, it's a heavier white wine. So you can use it with all kinds of fish and salads, of course, and all that. More on the floral, fruity side compared to a drier white that I also import. Yes.
And then this one?
Yeah, the famous rosé, bestseller actually, great priced. That's based on the Maratheftico varietal, that's the most widely planted red varietal on the island of Cyprus. So it's 90% done, 10% Syrah. Feel free to sip on it. It's a dry rosé. So people into rosé wines, they tell me that they are mostly on the sweeter side. This one is not. So same winemaker, Ambeli. So we can, what do you all think?
Oh yeah,
Delicious.
Very nice. And it's nice and dry, because sometimes you think of rosé as being a little sweet.
I don't think you need any food with this wine. You can just sit outside and sip on it, but it would go with salads, cheeses.
It's quite wonderful.
Great depth of flavor.
Yes,
depth.
yes. It's the varietal that I think comes out of the Maratheftico.
And then we move on to this guy.
We have a different winemaker, Marcos Zambartas is the last name, a younger guy, studied in Australia. That's a blend. Lefkada, which is actually a Greek varietal, blended with Syrah or Shiraz. He studied in Australia, so for him it's Shiraz instead of Syrah. So it's a red blend from the island. That was also, I think that one won the same year, the Moro Canela.
It's nice to see those medals.
Yes.
You had to be so excited.
I go to, it's become a habit with the lady in charge, Amy Brown. It's every year we meet on stage to get my medals. I'm like, we continue. So,
yes, please.
Yes.
And then this is by far the most historic.
Well, this one is called Cumandaria. It's a dessert wine out of the island of Cyprus.
Pretty little bottle, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually listed in the Guinness Book of Record as the oldest wine in the world.
And how old are we talking?
So we're talking about 6,000 years plus in continuous production. 2 records mentioned on the Guinness Book. One is that, and the second one is the first ever wine to be given a designation of origin. So those are the 2 records it has. It's all natural. By law over there, you could fortify the wines, but this winemaker doesn't.
And this is a dessert wine.
This is a dessert wine on the sweeter side. It's 2 varietals. By law, it's always 2 varietals. In this case, it's 50% Xinisteri, a white varietal, and 50% Mavro, a red varietal that they use to make the Cumandaria wine. It can only be made in a cluster of 14 villages on the mountain, on the Troodos Mountains on the island of Cyprus.
Where you were born.
One of them is where my dad is from, and I grew up spending my summers with my grandparents' vineyards. So that's what got me into this, I think. So that's the story. I mean, Cumandaria, if you all did your Odyssey and Iliad by Homer, it's actually referenced in there. It used to be called Nama, N-A-M-A.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating.
In 1191, Richard the Lionheart used it in his wedding at the time with Berengaria, and he called it his own quote, "The King of Wines and Wine of Kings." And it was the island was eventually sold to Knight Templars, and they renamed it to Cumandaria based on their La Grande Commanderie, which is actually close to Limassol, the largest port on the island, which is actually right now where I ship my wines out of.
Oh my goodness!
Kind of
well, Ari, so just to say though, I'm sure a lot of people say, "Well, how can we get these?" All right, so Martin's, Acquista Pese's, local wine stores.
So these are small production wines. So unfortunately, I couldn't get to Total Wine, but yes, we
the website explains all that.
We are in, and all the wine markets and stores cannot, put all the wines on the shelves. But if you go and ask for them, I know there was days Martin's, both Baton Rouge and here, all the Brumarts in town, Mathern's in Gonzales, Ralph's in Gonzales, I'm sure in Mathern's, as well as all the stores. I live on the North Shore, so all the Acquista Peses. Adam was the first
and
one to
some
take
local
me.
restaurants too?
Some local restaurants, the Acropolis here on Metz, the new Acropolis, Athenian Grill downtown, but also, 5 to 7 across the lake, and some of those Chefunctus by the river, Madisonville, casino in Baton Rouge, both casinos in Lake Charles. So yes.
And in another life, you used to work at Michoud. Explain what you worked on.
Correct. Yes. So by trade, I guess I have an IT degree, project management. So I worked on the external tank of the shuttle back until it closed down a few years back. Then I worked for Chevron, for some of the oil platforms.
I'm glad you decided to change hats here.
Yes, I was into soccer coaching until I got into wine.
Okay, well, thank you. So glad you could be with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And we talked, of course, here we go. Maurice, great to see you. You're so prolific and in another life, but you still are an attorney, correct?
That is true. It's so great to be seen. Also, delicious wine. But it's all great to me. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
You have, of course, written books of short stories, but your latest is a novel. Please share with us some insight into that.
Sure. The American Daughters is a historical novel, mostly set in the French quarters of New Orleans in the 1850s. And the idea was to show a different angle of New Orleans at that time. I really wanted to write this book to show versions of my own ancestors, my great-great-great grandmothers and aunties in action. And I wanted to show how New Orleans was a very specifically unique place. Of course, we had our influence from the French and the Spanish, and of course the Americans. But there was something about the idea that people who were enslaved in the South often were not just on plantations, but also inside of cities. And that created a very interesting situation where some people may have been of African descent, but they were free, and they had their own businesses and their own companies, and yet some people were enslaved. And so you might have somebody walking down the street who would see their cousin who can't, go to their home that night because they are forced to be with somebody else. And so throughout the book, I am able to show many different angles of the experiences of African Americans in New Orleans in that time period.
We are thrilled because this is now, and fairly recent, our monthly Book It, we call it. And so we're just thrilled that you get to be on it and that we get to have you here. But you're teaching, you're a professor at LSU.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I love to write and love to teach. And one thing about being a teacher of creative writing at LSU is that my students, they're so young, and they're like 18, 19 years old. And so they're always making interesting stories, to put it like that surprise and delight me. And frankly, it's good as a writer to experience things that you don't see coming. It keeps me fresh on my toes. And so when I'm writing, I always have good ideas because I'm like, what if I tried my version of this story?
Now, also your most recent a book of short stories is The Ones Who Don't Say They Love You. Where did that title come from?
Wow, titles are very important.
Yes.
And I was trying to think of how to describe New Orleans to people who don't understand it. It's a very fun-loving place, and people that come here, they kind of have a good time and leave immediately. But it's the people here who don't speak it so loud. They show it through their actions. They give you a hug. They're happy to see you. They give you some red beans and rice, a nice bowl. And so you don't have to say that you love somebody. You just have to show it. And so that book was a labor of love. It took 10 years to write those short stories, and so there's a lot in it.
Yeah. And you grew up in New Orleans East.
That is true. New Orleans East, which rarely appears in literature or in film and TV. And so it's a pleasure for me to write stories that are sometimes set there. My wonderful friend Sarah M. Broom, who did The Yellow House, she's from the same neighborhood as I am. And so we've kind of been tag teaming, making these New Orleans East-based stories.
And congratulations, because you got some good news this week.
It is true. I found out that I won a Guggenheim Fellowship out of New York.
Bravo. Wow.
Yeah.
And so you'll be going to New York soon?
That is true. The reception coming up
reception?
very soon. Yeah.
It's a good reason to be going to New York.
Why not?
Not that you need one, but anyway, congratulations, though, yes. And we want to remind everybody that there is the big book sale, that's what it's called, presented by the Friends of the Jefferson Public Library through Sunday at the Pontchartrain Center. Books, records, even puzzles, and more in CDs. Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday, noon to 5. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Peggy.
Sure. On to Ellen.
Well, the phenomenon that is Six, and again, I got everybody to see it, is at the Sanger for the second time in 2 years. This is named the Bolin Tour, as it's the second touring company after the original cast on Broadway. And, this is the
as
show.
In the second wife.
Right. The second wife was Anne Boleyn, of course. But again, it was supposed to open literally on the eve of the pandemic when all of Broadway shut down. They had to wait until October of 2021 for their opening night. But they have made up for lost time. Lucy Moss and Toby Marlowe penned this very short, very tight musical for the Edinburgh Fringe Fest. It went to London's West End. It's empowering. It's liberating. It's a musical that really gives a modern look to the 6 wives of Henry VIII, who were in order: divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Emma Elizabeth Smith, of course, leads off as Catherine of Aragon, the woman who Henry divorced after 24 years of marriage when she was unable to provide him with a male heir. No way. Nella Cole plays Anne Boleyn, the second wife, who was the mother of Elizabeth I, of course, but who literally lost her head over the king. Kelly Denise Taylor is the third wife, Jane Seymour, not the actress now. According to the musical and history, Jane was his greatest love. She bore him a son, of course, but the son died later on. She died in childbirth, and of course, he's on to wife number 4. That leaves Anne of Cleves. That role is played by Haley Alexis Lewis, who playfully suggests that Henry should have swiped left instead of right, saying he fell in love with a portrait that didn't quite pass muster when she appeared in court. Basically to get down. The fifth wife, Catherine Howard, played by Elise Cruz, was also beheaded, but not before issuing her complaint, All You Want to Do. And that's the big song there. And then Tasia Jungbauer is the wife who outlived Henry and sings the song, I Don't Need Your Love. The competition between the wives and the eventual realization that really Henry is the reason that they're all bound together is the reason really that we remember all these names of these queens, if you will. And even capping off the show before several reprises of their songs come back, etc. In many ways, Six is perfect for teens through the 30 crowd with little patience for long shows and nonstop action. Six continues at the Sanger.
And no intermission.
Well, no, it's not even an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
When I'm saying it's perfect for the Gen X generation, just check it out. It comes as no surprise, of course, for most of those people that they don't have, attention deficit disorder.
giving, like they're all got their microphones.
That's correct.
And they're each giving a performance.
It's almost like a rap.
So,
it's almost like a hip-hop type
so the
thing.
setup is a little bit different. Okay.
So again, 6th the national tour continues until Sunday, and then after that, we'll see if it comes back again in another 2 years. So it should come as no surprise, though, for people who know the gentleman. The executive director of the New Orleans Film Society, Dodd Loomis, is one of our most creative of theatrical people here in the Crescent City. Dodd, who's made New Orleans his home, is married to the amazing Alex Page Loomis, who possesses also one of the best singing voices you'll hear. Well, it was through her that he learned the story of Rose Lefkowitz Rosencrantz and her parents, Ed and Helen Lefkowitz, who were Holocaust survivors and who somehow managed to escape in a journey of over 10,000 miles and leaving their homes, being arrested, tortured, forced to work in a labor camp where Rose was born. Again, that's Alex's aunt. What the result is only miracles. It's based on actual oral histories, and it's developed by Dodd, and it's going to be playing at BB Stage Door Canteen tomorrow night and then again Sunday afternoon. So it's free. All you have to do is register online at National WW2 museum.org and check that out. It's no big deal. Shows are free, but you got to register. So check that out. Only miracles. I hope you get a chance to see that. That's at BB's again. Slidell Little Theater, though, is getting ready to present Shrek the Musical, opening tomorrow night and continuing through May the 3rd. Again, those of you who are familiar with the musical, it's Janine Tesori, fantastic show, and those of you who know the movies, of course, will have a lot of fun with it. Great for the kids, but also great, a lot of tongue-in-cheek, a lot of adult humor in it as well. Meanwhile, the Alanis Morissette musical, Jagged Little Pill, opens tomorrow night as well. But you ought to know that. It's being directed by Jack Lampert, a good friend of ours. Yes. A major hit for the Generation X group and the songs that defined their youth. Jagged Little Pill includes You Ought to Know, Ironic, You Learn, Head Over Feet, and Hand in Pocket, among others. Again, it's going to be at the Jefferson Performing Arts Center on Airline Drive. So check that out. And again, one other show that we talked about last week, a group of successful New York producers are mounting last night at the Rue Bayou with a local cast, or at least locals who have been born in New Orleans and natives and deep roots in New Orleans. It's all original music, all original staging, all original choreography, being produced at the Storyville Music Hall. It's immersive. When you sit down, you get a bowl of gumbo, you get 2 drinks throughout the night.
Wow.
Again, you can get it at ruebayoumusical.com. It's going to continue starting tomorrow night. You'll be able to see it again through Sunday, May the 3rd. Last night at the Rue Bayou with some fantastic, talented people in there. And again, an opportunity to see a New York-based production that's being set in New Orleans with local actors. Again, I hope it's very successful.
Yeah, do you think that they'll try to keep it here or go to New York? Any plans?
It's possible they could take it depending. And of course, most of these people are already New York-based actors. So yes, they could probably go up to New York. Probably off-Broadway, because I don't think that the way it's immersive with the drinks and the gumbo is going to work in a big city.
That's true. Got to have gumbo in New York, too. Thank you so much. Time for picks. Poppy.
Beer lovers, listen, the Cantillon Zwanze Day at Koshan is happening Saturday, April the 25th. It's going to sell out 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. It's the rarest lambics in the world. They'll be pouring only one of 31 locations in the whole U.S. that are doing this event. And then Season of Good Taste Dinners, the 33rd annual, 9 different dinners. Tickets just went on sale, so go online and get your reservations now.
And they sell out pretty
Yes, the dinners
fast.
sell out so quickly, so go have a look.
All right, Alan.
I hope to be there. Meanwhile, I want to thank Ari for whether he's a rocket scientist, IT guy, or a wine merchant. He's helping us lift off. The end of the year for the LPO is always marked by the swing in the Oaks on the Peristyle and at the Great Lawn. So make sure you bring your blankets, your chairs, and enjoy really great classical music, like classics, with the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra. And I'll see you at the theater.
All righty, and very quickly, my picks. It's French Quarter Festival time with almost 100 bands a day. My very quick picks. This Friday, the 17th, the Dixie Cups and Ingrid Lucia. Woo, and so many more. Saturday, can you imagine how hard it is to pick just a few here? Okay, Saturday, Wendell Brunius, one of my favorites. Also on the schedule, Sweet Crude, a New Orleans group that includes songs in Louisiana French. And Sunday, look for performances by your pal Lena Prima, Alan, Wanda Ruzan, and Irma Thomas.
All my
Oh
pets.
my goodness, all your pets, I'm telling you. Incredible. FrenchQuarterFestival.org. And for the complete schedule, of course, that's where you would go. And on Sunday from noon to 5 p.m., there's the Piety Market at the Hotel Peter and Paul in the original church right next door, 2317 Burgundy. Vintage clothing, art, plants, quite the variety. And before we leave you, all right, Ariam, how many wines do you handle and what's in your repertoire?
So far, 3 wineries from the island of Cyprus. I'm adding a 4th one soon, and quite a few Greek wines. I don't import those. I represent other importers for those because I wanted to focus on Cyprus.
All right,
That's
well,
where I'm from.
Here's to you, sir.
Thank you for having me. Enjoy.
And thank you for watching.
Cheers.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Opa!
Independent, locally owned New Orleans bookstore, Octavia Books, offers author events, book signings, and hand-picked titles for all ages. OctaviaBooks.com.
Criollo Restaurant offers a culinary adventure prepared by a tiny animated French chef. A 5-course dinner experience comes to life at each place setting using projection mapping. Located in the historic Hotel Monteleone. Learn more at criollonola.com.
This program is supported in part by a community arts grant made possible by the City of New Orleans as administered by Arts New Orleans.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area. Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
From jazz to jambalaya, theater to galleries.
Steppin Out brings you the best of our local arts and culture scene each week.
Let's step up and step out. Together, keeping WYES strong.